Hey everybody, D here, Daily Gaming, back with more Monster Hunter World, and in this episode we are taking on Sinister Shadows in the Swamp. This is a fairly easy mission. The Juratodos isn't that hard. He's a more annoying than anything. He can get some big hits in, but he's not very hard. Why do I only have one trap? I haven't used any traps. Have I? Oh, I crafted a shock trap. Yeah, I needed to change. Hold on. Yeah, I've been crafting shock traps. So, you can put shock traps, trank bombs in. Do my add them to my radial menu. And then save everything. Oh, wrong button. There we go. Of course, eat. All right, now we can go. So yeah, it's fairly easy. He's more annoying. He can be very mobile. And then because he's like a fish monster, so he fights in the muck a lot. So you don't have great mobility. So you're constantly chasing him down, and it can be slow. Going in, he is susceptible to poison. He's also weak to
He must have left some kind of trail.
water, I believe. Or is it? It's either lightning or paralysis. And that's not water. It's lightning or paralysis. One of the two. But yeah, you can punish him pretty good. Water moss helps because he covers himself in muck, like the Baroth does. So using the muck to knock things off of him, or knock the mud off of him, makes him easier. He also leaves muck trails, like the Baroth will. But so being able to wash the muck away will prevent that from happening. And if you're if you use a lot of stamina, like for the dual blades, you're definitely going to want to take care of that muck, because getting stuck in it will drain your stamina, making it hard to do your attacks. But as I mentioned before, whenever you come to this area, always gather up the sleep herbs and the perish rooms. Always crafting, or always gathering those, because this is your early on. This is the best and only way of getting sleep or trank bombs. Also gathering the dung. Did I miss a perish room? No, I don't think I did. Okay. So for the actual mission, you're supposed to be tracking. The point of it is a researcher went missing. You're supposed to be tracking him. You don't really need to track him. It has like footsteps you can actually gather and track. The more important thing is these blue ones, these old splintered thorns. Those you really want to look up, or those you really want to gather, because it helps with an elder dragon's research. But the footprints and stuff, it's just to help lead you to where the researcher is. So if you know where to go, you can ignore it. Oh, come on, camera. Try to make sure I didn't miss any sleep herbs behind me. The Juratodos is another one that leaves a lot of tracks. He leaves a lot of tracks. So it's very easy to get his research level up high. Oh, I knew I missed. Yes, I knew this one was over here still, and I know I missed the other one. Get that god bug. Get these. And take out those Gaju. Oh, I missed it. There we go. Got my weapon nice and charged up, ready for the fight. And we got some resources. Berry, very important. And some light seed. I can't gather any more nullberry. So yeah, let's just move on.
Is that the scholar? What's that he's sitting next to? It looks like a Baroth?
And don't worry about fighting those guys. Cutscene.
God, don't let him find me. Don't let him find me. Oh, I saw it. No, the Juratotus, that didn't kill the Baroth. It was,
New target! New target! Hunt that Juratotus!
Oh, okay. That was a hell of a way to start the fight, dude.
Proceed with caution!
Oh. Not off to a good start. Oop, I was gonna do something else. I was gonna do that. That time I saw it coming. What? That hit me? That shouldn't have hit me. Yes, if you get hit with the water blight, it increases your stamina consumption. So not too critical for most, but can be detrimental to others. Ooh, that was luck. Oh crap, I'm charging for no reason. I thought my shield was still charged. Oh man. Oh, you stupid guys, you.
Don't forget, you can guard too.
Who are you attacking? the run. I don't think I was on the run. No, turn. Crap, I stuck in the muck. Ah. And he's on the run. Go ahead and sharpen my weapon. We beat him up pretty good there. I don't think he's quite close to death, but we pounded on him pretty good. Yeah, I've only seen one red thing drop. Oh, he is close to death. He is limping. Because this is his nest. Excuse me. I'm not going to worry about capturing him yet. Come here. Oh, wow, he was closer to death than I thought he was. I could have captured him. Oh well. Like I said, I wasn't too worried about capturing him.
Feeling that there's something really bad about those thorns.
So, yeah, there's Giratodos, and more importantly, that guy we rescued is the farmer, or he handles farming at the research base, and that completing this should unlock the farm for us, which is very, very important. The farm literally farms out resources for you while you're out on missions. Starting off, it's not too great, but once you get to towards the end of high rank, it's really powerful. And once you get in the master rank, it gets even better. Because I think by the end of high, or towards somewhere in high rank, you can start farming 3 items at a time. And some of those items you can get up to 8 per mission. So if you triple down on one item, and if you use oops, I just dropped my controller, and my headset's plugged into my controller. Hopefully you can still hear me. Crap, what was I saying? Farm up to 3 items, and then if you use the proper fertilizer, you can get up to 8 items per mission. So if you triple down on them, that's 24 items per mission you can get. Then once you get the master rank, you can unlock a 4th slot. So that'll be 32 items per slot. Some of them it's not that much. Some of them you can only, even with the proper fertilizers, you can only get like 3 because they're very powerful items. So, but still, it's getting that's still what, 12, up to 12 per mission. It doesn't take long at all to quickly get like a couple hundred items.
Gather around, everyone. Thanks to you, our researchers
All
is
right.
heading.
The Great Ravine.
Correct. I say we try.
Now this
and
is where he
capture
says
Zora
we're going to try and
once it
capture
gets
Zora
there.
Magdaros.
Have you gone mad?
And everybody's like, oh, you're
Hear
crazy.
me?
If we do,
Is it even possible?
If I said it wasn't,
let's get
then it's settled.
Before we send the hunt, an engine athlete.
You're right, but be careful.
Commander.
Hunter
Hey,
up,
but
you-
before we
Another
do
thing.
that,
That
we gotta
public
hunt
report
this
we
and this
received.
still.
Think you could?
Right.
Good then. Everyone dismissed.
We should
All right.
probably listen to what the chief botanist has to say before we do anything else.
So, like I said, it opens up the farm. That's why you gotta talk to the chief botanist.
Whoa.
Oh, he gives you the ghillie mantle. It doesn't unlock the farm. Dang it. When do you unlock the farm? I thought...
Our next assignment is to hunt a Toby Kadachi. We should be able to find it in the
Oh, I was
ancient
all
forest.
excited to get the farm going. Well, I'm an idiot. My bad. I apologize. I apologize. It was for nothing. It gives you the ghillie mantle, which is the first special equipment you can get. You can get a whole bunch of equipment of like mantles and boosters. Once you beat the base version of Monster Hunter World, you can actually equip 2 of them at once. To equip it, and it can be part of your loadout and stuff like that. Not your item loadout, but like your crafted or your weapon loadout. But to equip it, change equipment, and you see there's a new slot here. There's actually a bunch of slots over here. That's why there's gaps. So once we get access to new items, those will fill in as well. But you can equip. Right now, you can only equip 1. Obviously, the ghillie mantle. The ghillie mantle hides you. If you put it on, even if the monster's attacking you, if you put it on, he'll lose sight of you. But if he hits you while you're wearing it, then the effect wears off. What useful? There's no bushes to hide around or anything like that. You can pop it, and he'll lose sight of you, and you can run off to a corner and heal, whetstone, and get back into the fight. There's some delivery missions where people use it because it makes them harder. It takes longer for monsters to aggro on them, but you don't really need it for them. It just helps. But that's pretty much it. It just helps you hide. Not the best thing. I never use it. I've tried using it and stuff, and I was like, it's just not that helpful. There's very, very few specific situations where it's been helpful to me, and in those times I have other mantles that I'd actually rather prefer using instead.
Hey.
He's just telling me about the specialized tool. So let's go up and check out the workshop to see what new equipment I have, which it should open up the water tree for me. And we should also have some new armor. Upgrade. So I shouldn't be able to actually upgrade anything to the water tree. I know I need more resources. Oh, I can make one. Well, that's nifty. And as you can see, it has horrible. It doesn't have horrible. It has bad sharpness, but the damage is up there with mine. So when you're dealing with elements, it does deal. It's the 396 plus the 120. Now, I think I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. The damage output or the damage numbers for Monster Hunter World that are bloated. You're not actually dealing 396 damage. That's why when you attack creatures, you see numbers like 10, 20, or 3, depending on what your weapon is. Like the dual blades, they have single-digit numbers. But that's why you only see numbers of like 20 and 30, and that's it. It's because it says you're dealing 396, but you're really only dealing like 100, if that. If you're using like the dual blades or the sword and shield, your damage output is like 100, or it says you're doing 100, but you're actually only doing like 30 or 50. I don't understand why the numbers are so inflated, but that's why in Monster Hunter Rise, a lot of people were like, why are the damage numbers so low? It's because those are actually the true numbers. That's what you're actually dealing. Because when you take in your attack with the monster's defense, that's what you're left with. Like that's literally all it is. I believe that in Monster Hunter World they take the more simple approach of attack minus defense equals damage. That's what it is. Brain fart. So, but anyways, yeah. So that's it. Inflated numbers. But anyways, oh, that's what I was going for. Yeah. So it is the 396 plus the 120. What it actually is probably like 150 plus 20. Like that's probably it. But it is an additional 20 on it. And if the enemy is weak to that element, it does deal more damage. Do get a damage multiplier if they're weak to that. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that with the charge blade, at least, is we're now having access to power element files as opposed to impact files. Impact files deal stun damage, and you can actually increase their damage with certain skills, like the artillery skill. With power element files, you cannot increase their damage using skills. You can increase your base damage, you can increase your crit chance. Increasing your crit chance does not increase how much damage the elemental, or how much the file damage is. The only way to actually increase the elemental, the power element file damage, is just to jack up the water damage. The higher your water damage is, the higher your power elemental file damage is. So if you're going to start using power elemental files, once you get into decorations, charms, you want to start using items that increase that elemental damage. There are armor sets that also increase that elemental damage. We've already seen like the poison one of Pookie Pookie. The Juratodos gives us a water attack. So if you want to use water at this early point, then you need to craft those items, but it's really not worth it. Having 120 water is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and craft this because this will help out with the Anjanath. He's weak to water, so crap. What was that? Oh, wrong button. That's the defender. It's the Proto Commission X2. There we go. So now I have a water element. Equip now? No, because we have some other missions I'm going to do first. The other thing to keep in mind with the power file versus the impact file. Impact file, when you do your super amped elemental discharge, your files do an explosion in a straight line in front of you. When you do power files, it does it. I've heard it described in two different ways. I've heard it described in a V, and I've heard it described in a zigzag. I'm not sure which it is. There's so much particle effects going on that I don't really care, because but it is in a shorter blast, but it's wider. So your positioning changes depending on which one you're using. A lot of times I don't do it because sometimes positioning yourself takes so long that you can't even get the attack off. But when you're using impact files, you should be, when you're doing the Sade, you should be either from head to tail or tail to head. You should be along them because that's where you deal the most damage. When you're using the power elemental file, you want to be more towards the side because it'll spread out and still hit their whole body. Whereas if you're doing it from head on, it'll spread out and miss them. If it's a really wide creature with wings and stuff, you still have a chance. You still have a good chance of hitting them completely with it. But like the Juratodos, most of my files would miss if I did it head on because of how narrow he is. So that just, when you're using the charge blade, that's something to keep in mind. But that's going to wrap up this episode because we've unlocked everything, we talked to everybody, we checked out the weapon. Now we just need to move on to the next mission, the Tobi Kadachi. Oh, the water actually helps with him as well. He's weak to water. But in the next couple episodes, we're going to take out some optional side missions. They're going to be quick and easy. I'll just show you how to go through those in what I found is to be a fairly quick way. Off the Juratodos armor after completing the Shadows in the Sinister, Shadows of the Swamp mission. This is what his armor looks like. It's kind of goofy looking. Very bulbous. It's like just a bunch of bulging parts. Almost kind of has like a Samus Aran feel to it. But that's what it looks like. Skills, aquatic polar mobility, which is what you get from the Baroth. Is it? Who had... Oh, there's from the Gaju. There we go. The Gaju gives you the aquatic polar mobility. More importantly, the Juratodos gives you focus. This is a good armor skill for the charge blade and for any weapon that has to charge up. So like I think the switch axe can benefit from it as well, and I think the hammer benefits as well because the hammer has a couple attacks where you have to charge up to get it. Because what it does is increases the fill rate for weapons with gauges and the charge rate with weapons for charge attacks. So like you have the files you need to fill. So this increases the fill rate of those files. And The charge blade has multiple charge attacks. So does the hammer, and I believe the switchblade blade does too. So 1 point of focus reduces those charge times by 5%. 5% isn't that much. It is noticeable though. It is slightly noticeable. Getting a focus up to level 3 is very important for charge blade, switch axe, things like that, because getting increases the gauge fill rate by 20%, and it reduces charge times by 15%. Like I said, 5% isn't much, but it's noticeable. 15% is useful. You will get your charging attacks off faster. So like charging your sword will happen a lot faster. You won't get it interrupted during it. Getting your Sade off, because that's a charge attack, you can get that off faster. You don't actually hold the button and charge it, but it is I think it's considered a charge attack, so it gets off faster, I think. So focus is very useful. I will be crafting this one to use. Like I was debating on I wanted to craft the critical eye. Yeah, I'd rather have the focus over that. He also gives you ice resistance, water attack, and muck resistance. So not a bad set, but not a very useful set. None of the low level sets are really that useful. Not until you get to like Diablos, Rathalos, some of the ones in, I think Odogron's set is pretty cool. Actually, really, his set is actually really cool. Has a lot of, it's very high affinity, and it just looks cool. His is really nice. So I will be crafting this Jiratotos set. I just need a lot more Jiratotos parts. But yeah, that's it for him.